Many experts and analysts have noticed that after the start of the battle for Chasiv Yar, the Russian military began to regularly post numerous videos online showing the destruction of NATO military equipment. For example, this video clearly shows how in the suburb of Chasiv Yar, Ukrainian officers and soldiers are trying to escape with the help of an American armored vehicle Humvee. It is clearly visible that the US armored personnel carrier is moving at very high speed, hoping to escape from Russian retaliation. However, unfortunately for the Ukrainian soldiers and officers, the Russian munitions still hit the target, destroying everyone who was in this armored vehicle. Commenting on these shots, Ukrainian military expert Sergei Zdurets said that the Russians destroyed this American armored vehicle with the help of the modernized precision-guided munition KRASNOPOL. The Ukrainian expert made this statement based on a recent interview with the Chief of Staff of the Artillery Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine under the designation Rubij, Lieutenant Colonel Denis Nagorny. In particular, this high-ranking officer of the Ukrainian army admitted that the Russian military began to actively use the modernized KRASNOPOL precision-guided munitions in the battle for Chasiv Yar. According to him, these latest Russian projectiles have a high level of accuracy, as they are equipped with a laser guidance system and can be used in conjunction with such loitering munitions as Scalpel and Lancet. Simply put, it is impossible to run away and escape from these modernized Russian artillery shells. Moreover, a senior officer of the Armed Forces of Ukraine also admitted that the Russians are constantly developing new offensive tactics, trying to break through the defenses of the Ukrainian army. This trend is especially noticeable in the battle for the city of Chasiv Yar. The fact is that the Russians are attacking Chasiv Yar from the air, on land, and underground. Yes, you heard it right, the Russians are also attacking this city underground. As it turned out, the Russian military are actively digging extensive systems of underground passages in the northeastern and southeastern parts of Chasiv Yar, in order to get into the city itself. These underground passages resemble an anthill, and even have their own air supply systems. For the armed forces of Ukraine, the main danger of these underground passages is that they may allow the Russian High Military Command to send small groups of Spetsnaz to Chasiv Yar, which can neutralize the main firing points of the armed forces of Ukraine, thereby creating favorable conditions for the Russian army to enter the city from the east. At the same time, Ukrainian Telegram channels continue to express concern also about the growing number of Russian-guided aerial bombs in the zone of combat contact. Moreover, Ukrainian military expert Roman Pogorelov was also forced to admit that the Russians had significantly increased the number of used loitering munitions and the modernized KRASNOPOL precision-guided projectiles. In general, many Ukrainian military experts and analysts recognize that due to the advantages of the Russian artillery with its modernized KRASNOPOL shells, which work in conjunction with loitering munitions, the military columns of the armed forces of Ukraine have lost the opportunity to move freely in the zone of combat contact. In addition, as it turned out, due to the KRASNOPOL precision-guided projectiles, from which it is practically impossible to escape, the armed forces of Ukraine are forced to use Western electronic warfare systems at full capacity, as a result of which Ukrainian operators of FPV drones are deprived of the opportunity to strike at military columns of Russian troops. As a result, the offensive units of the Russian troops are moving forward without any particular losses, capturing one enemy stronghold after another. My friends, let me remind you that the main advantage of the Krasnopol projectile is that it is equipped with the latest generation laser homing head, as a result of which this projectile can hit a moving target from the first shot, even at a distance of 25 kilometers. Returning to the topic of the Russian army's new tactics of warfare, it should be noted that the Russians also began to actively set fire to tires after each artillery duel with the armed forces of Ukraine. The Russians are doing this on purpose, so that the armed forces of Ukraine think that they have managed to knock out Russian self-propelled guns and howitzers. These actions also allow the Russians to keep secret the exact number of artillery systems on the battlefield. As a result, all statements by the Ukrainian side about the destroyed Russian howitzers and self-propelled guns turned out to be fake, which allowed the Russians to launch unexpected artillery strikes on the most vulnerable places of the Ukrainian army. Against this background, most likely out of impotence, the Ukrainian nationalists banned the evacuation of those residents of Chasiv Yar who, in their opinion, were looking forward to the arrival of the Russian army. Moreover, they even placed heavy military equipment, including multiple launch rocket systems, tanks, and self-propelled guns, in the residential sectors of Chasiv Yar. However, these actions of the Ukrainian nationalists do not stop the advance of Russian troops in any way. According to war correspondents, in the past 24 hours alone, Russian troops have managed to significantly improve their positions in both the northeastern and southeastern directions from Chasiv Yar. If the Ukrainian General Staff and its NATO military advisors cannot find an effective way to counter the Russian army's new tactics of warfare, then the fall of Chasiv Yar will not be long in coming.